Welcome back to all of you. I'm Professor M.S. Patil, and I welcome you all for this third video presentation on rolling contact bearings. Today, we are going to talk about the static load carrying capacity, and we are going to derive the Strebecks equation for calculating the static load carrying capacity of the rolling contact bearings. So first, we will see what is static load carrying capacity. Static load carrying capacity of the bearing is denoted by capital C suffix O. And first we will see what exactly is the static load. So static load is nothing but it is the load acting on the bearing when the shaft is stationary. So what is static load carrying capacity? Static load carrying capacity, also known as basic rating of the rolling contact bearings, it is defined as the static load which corresponds to a total permanent deformation of balls and races. Here, balls can be replaced by rollers if we are talking about cylindrical roller bearings. So, balls and races at the most heavily stressed point of contact equal to 0.0001 times the ball diameter. So, when the bearing is stationary or when the shaft is stationary, if the total permanent deformation of the balls and races at the most heavily stressed point of contact, if it becomes equal to 0.0001 times the ball diameter, then that corresponding load will be called as static load carrying capacity of the bearings. This static load carrying capacity, which is denoted by C suffix 0, is calculated using Strebecks equation. So before deriving this Strebecks equation, we will see what are the assumptions made while deriving this Strebecks equation. The first assumption is that the races, either the inner race or the outer race, they should be rigid and they retain their circular shape. Second assumption is that the balls are equally spaced. That means if we connect the center of the ball with the center of the bearing, then that angle beta between two balls, it will always remain constant. That is, the balls are equally spaced. And the third assumption is that the balls in the upper half do not support any load. That means the balls which are in the lower half of the bearing, they only support the load. So these are the assumptions made while deriving the Strebecks equation. So we will derive the Strebecks equation. In this figure, you can see the forces acting on the inner race. If we say that C0 is the load acting, right, then the corresponding radial loads supported by each ball will be P1, which is exactly below the center. Then at angle beta on either side, the load will be P2. Again, at angle twice beta from the center, it will be P3, and so on will be the supporting loads, which will be resisting CO. So these are the loads acting on the inner race. So due to this CO, the inner race, though it is rigid, but it will be displaced by say radial distance delta 1, and it will be shifted to O dash. Deflection of the balls, radial deflection of the balls, if the ball is at the center, then delta 1 is the radial deflection of the ball at this point. For the balls which are at an angle of beta, the radial deflection will be delta 2 on either side, and similarly the radial deflections will be delta 3, delta 4, and so on. Okay, so these are the two sketches, and we have to derive the equation for CO. So if we look on the first figure A, right, then if we balance the forces in the vertical direction, then the forces which are resisting to CO will be equal to, so CO will be equal to P1 is already vertical, so CO is equal to P1 plus P2 will be resolved along vertical direction and it will be acting upward. So P2 cos of beta plus P2 cos of beta. So it will be twice P2 cos of beta. Again, if we resolve the force P3 in the vertical plane, so it will be P3 cos of beta plus beta. It will be twice beta. So P3 cos of twice beta plus P3 cos of twice beta. It will become twice P3 cos of twice beta. And if we go on further, then it will be twice P4 cos of thrice beta and so on. So we will get the first equation of CO as P1 plus twice P2 cos of beta plus twice P3 cos of twice beta and so on. So already told that these are the deflections, radial deflections, delta 1 at load P1, delta 2 radial deflection at load P2, delta 3 radial deflection at load P3. So if we select a right angle triangle, say this right angle triangle, so hypotenuse will be delta 1, this side will be equal to delta, and this angle will be equal to beta. So according to the trigonometric laws, cos of beta will be adjacent upon hypotenuse. So cos of beta will be equal to delta 2 upon delta 1. So we can see cos of beta will be equal to delta 2 upon delta 1, or we can write delta 2 is equal to delta 1 cos of beta. In the similar manner, we can have delta 3 upon delta 1 is equal to cos of twice beta and so on. We'll call this as equation B. Now, as it is related to contact stresses, so we will we will take help of the Hertz equation. So according to Hertz equation, the relationship between the load and deflection at each pod is given by deflection is directly proportional to the load acting at that point raised to twice 2 by 3. So here delta 1 will be directly proportional to P1 raised to 2 by 3. Delta 2 will be directly proportional to P2 raised to 2 by 3. So if we add a constant over there, so we will get delta 1 is equal to C1. C1 is the constant added. C1 into P1 raised to 2 by 3. And delta 2 will be equal to C1, same constant, P2 raised to 2 by 3, and so on. Delta 3 will be equal to C1, P3 raised to 2 by 3. So if we divide this particular equation of delta 2 by the equation of delta 1, divide this equation by this equation, we will get delta 2 upon delta 1 will be equal to P2 upon P1 raised to 2 by 3. And similarly, delta 3 upon delta 1 will be equal to P3 upon P1 raised to 2 by 3. But from the earlier equation, we will see that delta 2 upon delta 1 is equal to cos of beta. So we will replace delta 2 upon delta 1 by cos of beta. So we will get P2 upon P1 raised to 2 by 3 is equal to cos of beta, right? And P3 upon P1 raised to 2 by 3 will be equal to cos of 2 beta then. So we can have this equation. So if we take 2 by 3 on this side, it will become 3 by 2. We will multiply P1 with this term. So we'll get the equation of P2 as P1 into cos of beta raised to 3 by 2. For P3, we will get equation P3 is equal to P1 into cos of twice beta raised to 3 by 2. P3 is equal to P1 into cos of twice beta raised to 3 by 2. So if we put all these values of P2, P3 and all the loads in the basic equation of CO, what was the basic equation of CO? CO is equal to P1 plus twice P2, this term plus twice P3. So if we replace the values of P2 and P3 in this equation, we will get CO will be equal to P1 plus twice P2. P2 is nothing but P1 into cos of beta raised to 3 by 2 into cos of beta plus, okay, P3 will be replaced by this into cos of twice beta. So if we add this, cos of beta raised to 3 by 2 into cos of beta. So power of this beta is 1, 3 by 2 plus 1 will be equal to 5 by 2. So we will get P1 plus twice P1 into cos beta raised to 5 by 2 plus twice P1 into cos of twice beta raised to 5 by 2. If we take P1 as the common term and take this out of the equation, so it will be 1 plus twice cos of beta raised to 5 by 2 plus twice of cos of twice beta raised to 5 by 2 and so on, right? And we will replace this particular term in the bracket by m. So we will get a simplified equation as CO is equal to P1 into m. Now, m will be the term in the bracket. If we have z number of balls, then the angle between two balls will be equal to 360 degree divided by z. So we will rewrite these equations of m and beta is equal to 360 by z. And if we talk about different values of z and calculate the value of m, so take z equal to 8, right? So 360 degree divided by 8 will be the value of beta. If we put the value of beta in this equation and carry up to 2 or 3 terms, then we will get the value of m is equal to 1.84. If we take z by m, so 8 divided by 1.84, it will be 4.35. So if we go on calculating the values of z by m for different number of balls, say 10, 12, 15, put these values of z in this equation of beta, put the value of beta in this equation of m, calculate it for same number of terms, say for 3 number of terms, we will get these values of m. So divide z by m, we will get these values of z by m. For 8, it is 4.35. For 10, it is 4.38. For 12, it is 4.36. For 15, it is 4.37. So if we look on the pattern of the values of z by m, we can see that it is almost constant, and Strebeck suggests that we can take it as 5. So if we take z by m as 5, then m will become z by 5. Z by m is equal to 5. So m will come this side, 5 will go in the denominator. So m will be equal to z by 5. So if we put the value of m is equal to z by 5 in this equation, so we'll get CO will be equal to P1 into z by 5. CO is equal to P1 into z by 5. Again, from the experimental evidence, it is found that force P1 required to produce a given permanent deformation of the ball is given by P1 is equal to KD square, where D is the diameter of the ball and K is the constant which depends on the radius of curvature and the modulus of elasticity, right? Then we can have, if we replace P1 by KD square in this equation, so we'll get CO is equal to KD square Z upon 5. So this is the final Strebeck's equation for ball bearings, right? So CO is equal to KD square Z upon 5. Now, if we talk about rollers instead of spherical balls, because spherical ball has dimension D in all direction, but cylindrical rollers, right? If we talk about a cylindrical roller, then it will be like this. Cylindrical roller will be like this. This diameter is D and this dimension is L. Okay, so these are the two dimensions, D and L. So instead of D square, we can take it as KDLZ upon 5. CO will be equal to KDLZ upon 5 for cylindrical roller bearings. But for ball bearings, it will be KD square Z upon 5, where K is a constant which depends on the radius of curvature at the point of contact and the modular of elasticity of the materials. So in this way, we have derived the equation, the Strebach's equation, for calculating the static load carrying capacity of the rolling contact bearings. I hope you must have understood all this. Thank you for listening it very patiently. Thank you.